In this video, we are going to go over the space stocks, the recent pullback in the space stocks, and the next big catalyst for them. But before we get started, please stick around till the end. We are going to, again, show you guys how to take advantage of our 14-day free trial, which we will talk about at the end. But before we get started here, first things first, we are looking at the SPY, and again, we give our weekly forecasts here on this weekly market report that we put out on YouTube. And if we go back to last week's forecast, you can see here, this is the SPY it has hit. Okay. And if we look, dig a little deeper now for our forecast, we see a couple things. We have a very green candle here. Okay. That's number one. Number two, the volume is still going down. Okay, so that is not something the bulls want to see on this bounce. We need some volume, okay, and it's still going lower here, okay. And the other thing is, SPY just filled the gap, okay. If you know anything about gap theory, which is one of the things we teach here at Delphi, 80% of the time when a gap fills, the stock, or in this case, this index SPY, will reverse, okay. So we have a little bit of a conflicting setup here. We have a bullish candle, but there's no volume, and we just filled the gap. Okay, so for those reasons, we could go higher, but for me, the biggest conviction here is a pullback. Okay, and we also now have gotten over this level here, which was resistance. Okay, and we are also above the averages, so we'll need to see if those provide support. Okay, but my forecast, we could go a little higher, maybe to test these highs here, but I do think eventually we'll pull back towards, okay, the moving average and the support. Okay, nothing crazy. Okay, but I do think because there's the lack of volume, and because we filled the gap here, I do think we could reverse a little lower. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we chop around in maybe a new range here for a while. Okay, so that is the SPY. I'm sorry, this is the Qs. Okay, this is the Qs. Let's go to the SPY, and the SPY has a little bit of a different setup here. Again, our forecast from last week hit right there on the SPY, and we are yet to get above this resistance level like the Qs. Okay, we are above the averages, but now I am looking for this level here to be a resistance. Okay, so again, look at the volume going down. So for these reasons, again, I am going to go, we could go a little higher. It wouldn't surprise me if we go to test this resistance, but I do think we will pull back here towards, again, the moving averages. Nothing crazy. But again, we could be range bound. Okay, so whether it's this is the high or this is the high, we could be still chopping around for a while. Okay, so that is the SPY and IWM. Again, no gap here that we filled. IWM has been looking strong, and as long as the moving averages here, this is the 20-day and the 50-day, provide support, the trend is higher. Okay, so we can see a lot of wicks here. Okay, we just a lot of large swings during the day on the IWM, but again, no volume here. The volume is going down. And do we test this all-time high? We could break out. Okay, but I do think we are due for a little bit of a pullback here on the IWM. So again, I'm just going to go, maybe a little lower here for a pullback on the IWM. Nothing crazy. It is looking bullish. And again, we could go higher, but if the volume keeps going lower, I think we'll chop around up and down here as well on the IWM. Okay, so now we gave our forecast here. And again, our forecast on the IWM has hit from last week. Okay, IWM is the best index technically to trade. Okay, you can see we have these white Our forecasts are white when we win. Here we did not win. So again, we take credit for forecasts that don't work. A lot of people, or some people here on YouTube or X, they'll leave a forecast up, and if it hits 6 months later, they'll take credit for it. We don't do that. But you can see a lot of white winning forecasts here on IWM. Okay, so that's our forecast for this upcoming week. So let's jump into the space stocks. Okay, here we have SpaceX. Everyone knows SpaceX. It just came out. We talked about it right when it was coming out here on YouTube. We talked about it, how we would not chase it up here. Okay, the valuation up here was like $2 trillion. And we gave a couple of examples. I believe one was Airbnb and Uber, who came out IPOs that were really hyped up, and what happened with those. But the reason I'm showing SpaceX, and I'm going to get into a couple other of the space stocks, okay? There's only a 3 or 4% amount of shares trading on SpaceX right now. Okay, the lockups have not hit yet, which hit, I believe, in August. So what happens now if you're holding a bunch of SpaceX, from the company, or you were given shares or whatever? Okay, you cannot do anything with those shares. So what happens? Okay, you see a lot of people, or you know trading firms or brokers who got in the IPO, since their shares are locked up. Okay, they cannot short the stock as a hedge, okay, until their shares become available that they could sell. So the only thing that they can do is go out and short the competitors. Okay, this is Rocket Lab. Okay, full disclosure, we've been in the stock for a while. So, but you see what happens here. Okay, this was the run up to SpaceX, and then what happens? You have people who are locked up in SpaceX, and the only thing that they can do is come out and short the competitors. Okay, so that is the reason why you see this huge drop in all the space names. Okay, I'm just going to show you Rocket Lab and AST SpaceMobile, but again, this is what happens. Okay, you get this huge short interest, people shorting it because they cannot short SpaceX. Okay, and eventually that will end, which it looks like it is ending here. We are bouncing pretty good here on Rocket Lab. Okay, but if we look at AST SpaceMobile, which is another one we own, ASTS, okay, same situation here. Okay, you can see what happened as we got to the SpaceX IPO. Shorts came in and drove it down. Okay, and again, you can see here, this is kind of support right here. So it looks like it is bouncing off support, and that shorting could be over. Okay, so that's the reason why we've seen a pullback in these space stocks. Nothing's changed. Okay, and actually things will be actually looking way better. And why is that? Well, the next big catalyst in the space stocks is going to be putting data centers in space. Okay, it sounds like a sci-fi movie. It sounds far-fetched, but it's happening. Okay, so why are data centers going to be built in space? Well, there's two big reasons why. Okay, number one is energy. Okay, we don't need to use electricity. We can get the energy from the sun. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, to run a data center, you need vast amounts of energy and electricity to cool those data centers. Okay, they get extremely hot, and companies spend an enormous amount of money to keep those data centers cooled. Well, when you build one in space, okay, you don't need to worry about that, because space is whatever it is. I don't even know what the temperature is, but it's sub-zero or even colder than that. Okay, so we don't have to worry about electricity, which we get from the sun, and also to keep the data centers cool. So that's a big reason why we think there's the next catalyst will be data centers in space. Now, when is it going to happen? Not going to happen tomorrow, but if you're following the news, there's also a lot of pushback on states and communities and cities to build data centers. So there's a lot of negativity going on around right now with data centers being built here in the US. So people are going to start to pivot to wanting to build those in space. And, that is going to benefit all these space stocks. Okay. So that's our view on this recent pullback. That's our view on, why we still believe in these stocks and think they're gonna keep going higher. Okay. I mean, ASTS, Rocket Lab market caps are a fraction of what SpaceX is. So we are still bullish these names. So now with that, again, please subscribe here on YouTube. Please set up your alerts. We put out amazing content. And please follow us here on X. Again, this is our X handle here at Delphi Trading GP, which means for group. And again, we're putting out amazing content here. We're, showing what our Delphi signal has been doing. And again, here you can see here we have our 14-day free trial. Okay. No credit card needed. Okay. You can come in, join us here in our Discord, which we'll show you in a second. And then you can just sign up for free for 14 days. Again, we don't take a credit card. You can leave at any time. Okay. But please follow us here on X. Again, at Delphi Trading GP. And what does that get you? Okay. Well, this is our we call the Delphi room here on Discord. And you can see we have a chat. We give out trades, which we do exceptionally well. We have option flows, charts, crypto, bunch of crypto channels. We have long-term portfolios. Okay, we have educational channels that we have as well. Okay, if we can see here. Okay, we have educational videos, which are priceless. But you can come in here for 14 days. You can hang out in the chat. You can, follow trades for 14 days for free. You can check out what long-term positions we're in for free. Check them out, screenshot it, copy them. Whatever you guys want to do, you can get in here for free for 14 days. Okay, so please, if you're a trader out there or looking to get into trading, please take advantage of this. It's a no-brainer. All right, so that's it from us. Again, thanks for being here and good luck trading this week. And we will see you on our call next week. Take care.